Hey everyone, today I'm doing a quick review of the new album from the HAARP Machine, Disclosure. It happens to be their debut album. So the HAARP Machine are a London-based progressive metal band. You could lump them in with the whole gent scene, but for the purpose of this review, I'm not going to. Also, I think that genre's kind of silly in a way, but there you go. Something I want to quickly say about the whole gent scene is that basically it started off with Periphery, who were a progressive metal band that basically took Sugar's guitar sound and expanded upon it in terms of musical ideas and formed their own sound within this. I really like Periphery. They dropped an album this year and it was a really, really good album, I personally thought. However, my problem with the genre is that every single band seemed to just rely on their musicianship and not necessarily their songwriting, which Periphery didn't do. I feel like Periphery have songs. However, there are plenty of bands that don't. They just rely on their musicianship, and I find it kind of boring, and I find this genre to be incredibly sheepish in a sense. So going into that, I already knew sort of what to expect from the HAARP Machine, considering it's the first time I've heard of them. And I was pleasantly surprised to a degree anyway. Basically, when I started off the track Esoteric Agenda, it opened with a very Middle Eastern folk-influenced string section that really, really grabbed me and sort of held my attention. There was a great section at around 1 minute 40 where it had lots of hanging instrumentation in the background. You know, lots of very, like I said, folk-influenced instrumentation, some piano, stuff like that. It was really, really nice. But for the most part of this song, I felt like, although it wasn't necessarily following the whole gent foundation to the dot, I do feel like it took influence from that, and it kind of mixed it with Between the Buried and Me's very frantic style of writing metal, sort of just going from section to section, with no real aim or anything like that in mind. I did feel like the whole song flowed, but it wasn't really written that well. I do think like it didn't really go anywhere. Like I said, it just kind of changed a lot and stopped. It didn't really do a great deal other than that. Now, this song pretty much sums up everything I think about this band as a whole, really. I wasn't a big fan of the cleans. I thought the screams were good. I feel like the musicianship is very, very good behind it. However, they are slightly undeveloped in the songwriting department. The instrumentation's very nice. It was very bright and colourful at times. And also, my major gripe with this LP is the overproduction, especially within the parts that are supposed to be fast and blasty. There are actually blast beats on this album, but to me, at least, they don't feel like blast beats because they're very tight and precise. To me, I personally always think blast beats should be kind of played loosely, not necessarily not tight or not precise or anything like that, just they should have a very loose, jammed out and wild feel to them, and the blast beats on this album really don't. However, I will say the next track really kind of reminded me of Protest the Hero and Sixth, with the very, very, very widdly guitar leads and stuff like that. Again, I feel like Protest the Hero and Sixth both write songs. If you're watching this video and if you know my channel, I'm pretty confident in saying that you know and like Sixth, at least. Maybe not so much Protest the Hero, but that's a personal thing. Anyway, Sixth have always been fantastic at songwriting. They've always written songs and melodies and choruses that will stick in your head and make sure to keep you hooked. I don't feel like this record really had a great deal of that, and I found myself really sort of enjoying the whole sound and the whole aesthetic of the band way more so than any of the songs. Having said that, there were a couple of decent moments. The song Disclosure opened with very folk-influenced strings again, had a nice ambient drone in the background, and then it sort of introed this really, really nice, again, folk-influenced riff that came in, with a couple of sudden drum hits and instrumentation. It was more mid-paced than the other tracks, and I felt the cleans sort of came more to their own in this song, even though I still wasn't that big on them. I do feel like this album showed me something that I didn't notice on the first couple of listens. Basically, the whole album has this very subtle atmosphere around it. It's very bright and uplifting as such, but it's definitely emphasised on this track. I think that's partly down to, like I said, the instrumentation and the folk influence. Another track I really enjoyed was the very last song, Machine Over. I actually felt like this was the strongest song on the record. It felt like a song. It definitely had some catchy melodies, a nice chorus to it, was well structured, had ups and downs, lefts and rights. It wasn't too predictable at the same time, and it was definitely still technical. Another thing is it was the longest track on the album as well. It was 6 minutes and I believe 50 seconds or so, and it totally justifies its length. It didn't feel repetitive or anything like that either. So it was just a really nice song in total. Honestly, I kind of feel like this is all I have to say about this band and this album, really. It's just overall a solid LP. I enjoyed it. I felt like I preferred the sound to the songs, like I said. However, there are certain aspects that are definitely unique to them, and this band, in my opinion, have a lot of potential. I can see them going far in the future. If you're into the whole Tesseract, Periphery, After the Burial, Monuments, those sort of bands, you should definitely give these guys a go. They are worth your time. I just do wish it felt a little bit less produced, so it felt a bit more raw and kind of aggressive, because the screams definitely portrayed that, the instrumentation did not. But once again, it was an enjoyable listen. I'll definitely watch out and see what these guys do in the future. I'm also actually catching them live because they're playing with Born of Osiris and After the Burial, if I remember correctly, in the UK very soon. So I'll make sure to report on that. However, for this album, I'm thinking a 6 out of 10. Was definitely enjoyable. Gonna leave it at that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Also, let me know what you think of this band if you've checked them out. And I'll catch you guys and gals later.